Greetings and salutations, Internet. My name is Kind Death, and over the next 2 days, we're going to be talking about what Battle for Azeroth can learn from classic WoW. Now, originally, this video was supposed to be about 15 to 20 minutes long. I ended up recording about 2.5 hours. I've cut it down to about 60 minutes, so I've broken it into 4 parts. Part 1 is adventure and leveling. Part 2 is progression and community. Part 3 is immersion. And Part 4 is PvP and music. So if there's any parts of that you're interested or not interested in, you can kind of go to said areas. I will provide links in the description below. I also want to begin with stating that I don't think Battle for Azeroth is a bad expansion. There's some bad systems in Battle for Azeroth. Most of the things that I'm addressing have been an issue with modern World of Warcraft, arguably since somewhere around the mid part of Wrath of the Lich King moving forward. This has been something that has been systemic and getting worse and worse and worse over time. The game needs RPG elements reinserted into it in a very desperate way because the game is starting to feel more and more hollowed out over time. And that is not something that's new. Whether that be choice, progression, immersion, all of those kinds of things have been diminished over time. All in the name of convenience, really. I also recognize that this video is going to be very unpopular with certain parts of the community because I'm not going to be friendly towards flying. I'm not going to be friendly towards portals. I'm not going to be friendly towards a lot of things that make you get loot faster or make you level quicker. I think these have all been negative systems for the game. So if you don't like what I have to say, you might as well downvote the video right now because we're going to get real. Now, as I outline a few points in the video about how Battle for Azeroth can learn from classic World of Warcraft, I want you to pay particular attention to the travel times and distances. Observe how you used to experience the game and how immersive it felt versus how quick, lonely, and unfulfilling it is now. I don't think it would be too outlandish to say that a majority of the World of Warcraft player base that is playing right now never ever touched classic WoW. I believe that is relevant because of the fact that so much of modern World of Warcraft has been stripped down to a bare bones MMO RPG, particularly in the RPG aspect. Immersion has been sacrificed in the name of convenience. And truth be told, this is the biggest thing I'm excited about for classic World of Warcraft. Not the fact that classic WoW is going to exist or that I can play it again, but what changes will it make to the modern game to be more of the game that I would like modern World of Warcraft to be. Basically, the theme of this video is going to be convenience is the enemy of immersion. And what you're going to see from a lot of the points I'm going to make later on, that in order to make the game more immersive and meaningful, we're going to have to sacrifice some level of convenience as players in order to retake RPG elements of the game back. Will the modern World of Warcraft player base be willing to sacrifice convenience for immersion? That's the big question for me about classic WoW. So what can Battle for Azeroth learn from classic WoW? Adventure. Like any other RPG, you're thrown into a world that you're unfamiliar with new characters around, trying to figure out who you are, and what you need to do. And usually a big part of that is feeling like a very, very small person in a much, much bigger world. There was a point in time where our player characters were adventurers and sellswords and not heroes. And this is probably part of one of the big problems with RPG and AAA games nowadays, is there's so much RPG power fantasy. I have to be the hero, I have to be the best, I have to be the strongest. That's really not what makes RPGs engaging. What makes RPGs engaging is your avatar being a reflection of your desired fantasies that you would like to be personified as within the game. For some people, that might be a hero. However, if I'm creating an undead warlock, I'm probably not trying to be holy, pious, and a crusader. I want to be evil, I want to be killing everything, and I want to be the bad guy. Not the hero, the villain. As I'm running through Stormwind, I bet on the entire trek here, you've been noticing little itsy-bitsy things here and there maybe you didn't notice before, or maybe you forgot about. You see characters, NPCs, other players. The world just feels alive. You're just moving from place to place, you're going from point A to point B, but you're in a world of Warcraft. Not an instance of Warcraft, not a portal of Warcraft, a world of Warcraft. And two of the things that Mists of Pandaria and Warlords of Draenor did really well is a lot of adventure, going out there seeking items, finding chests, finding hidden things, maybe that gave you achievement points or something unique or made you want to look around. Classic WoW had a lot of that as well. There were a lot of hidden NPCs, there weren't a lot of guides, there was a lot of discovery in the game. Well, what about in Battle for Azeroth? You pick up this rare purple glowing chests, and it has war resources in it every single time. There's nothing unique, there's no chance of getting anything special, there's just a complete removed chance of any excitement. It's a known quantity, there's no adventure. Now, to kind of hit more on the point of Classic WoW, because that's what this video is about, there was tons of nooks and crannies and things that were unique to each area. There was little winding trails within Stormwind, places that you could go find with hidden NPCs. The same was true in Ironforge, as well as Orgrimmar, other places within the world that you could go find. But adventure is not just traveling and finding items. Adventure is the journey you take to get to the destination. Because it's all about the journey, it's not about the destination. When you were leveling in Classic WoW, you didn't care about when you got to level 60. People weren't power leveling to level 60 because the leveling content was quote-unquote bad, like people do now. Or people just want to buy character boosts past it. It was so immersive, you didn't know the backstory, you were learning all kinds of new things, and they're things that you cared about. Genuinely wanted to understand why the dwarves were trying to find these Titan discs and what relevance that had. You were trying to help Thrall fulfill his vision of the Horde that he built at the end of Warcraft 3. You were trying to understand why did the Night Elves end up joining the Alliance. You had so many more questions than you did answers that it naturally sent you out there. Naturally, over time, you wanted to become stronger. You didn't really think about it. You were kind of experiencing the story, feeling the lore, feeling the vibe of everything. These characters you'd known from Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, moving forward, and World of Warcraft slowly started to draw you in, even for people like myself, who, I'll be honest, when World of Warcraft was first announced, I was livid as a hardcore RTS, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3 fan. I knew that they would probably never come out with another real-time strategy game, and I didn't like the fact that they were making it an RPG, but my friends dragged me in anyway. I knew the story. I was really kind of curious to see what would happen after the end of Warcraft 3, and unexpectedly, here I am, 14 years later, still playing a game I thought I would hate. I've been hooked into a genre that I've never really had a whole lot of interest in, to be honest. And you know what? I dare say that a lot of the people that are old school Warcraft players kind of feel the same way as me. They were drawn in, they feel a certain affinity to the game. I think a lot of what the modern game is surviving on is the legacy of World of Warcraft. What I mean by the legacy of World of Warcraft, the things that drew you in, gripped you, made you fall in love with it, you have those residual memories. If you started playing the game right now, in its current state, it probably wouldn't even hold you to max level if you were leveling from level 1. And that's a shame. That means there needs to be something that's fixed. What fun is it to come into an MMO, a massively multiplayer online game at level 1 and have nobody around you but NPCs and emptiness? That should be a self-answering question. Which brings me to my next point. Leveling in World of Warcraft. In an MMO or an RPG or an MMORPG, there is no situation, no excuse, no reason whatsoever, ever, that you should be able to have a character boost when the game is about character progression. You're effectively allowing players to skip content that they find disengaging. That means that World of Warcraft's leveling experience is fundamentally flawed. There is no reason to go back to these zones as a max level player. Therefore, there is no ecosystem of new players coming in and seeing the cool players with their amazing gear right off the bat. When you were a new player in Classic WoW, a level 1, level 10, you ran to Ironforge, you ran to Orgrimmar, you saw other players doing other things that were amazing, and it was right where you were starting and playing the game. You don't see that anymore. That doesn't exist. Everyone is in Borealis or Dazar'alor. You need to have that ecosystem for new players to feel like they're tied into the same game as people who are the old-timers. Just the very fact that you have a $60 character boost system in the game is directly admitting that you've made a failure and you don't know how to address it. The same can be said of the Azerite system in Battle for Azeroth. Why is there an Azerite Reforger? Why should I need it if the system wasn't flawed? So this is what I hope the developers take away from the classic WoW experience. When you're a level 1 character, a level 10 character, somewhere in between, you run to Ironforge, you feel surrounded by people immediately out of the gate, there's characters all over, there's a reason to be in these starting zones, that's something that's rewarding. There should be a perpetual events happening in all of these zones so you feel connected to the game. That means add the world quest system back to the old world. That's what made people excited about the world quest system when they announced it in Legion. Oh cool, maybe they'll put that back in the wetlands, or maybe they'll go put that in Elwyn Forest, or maybe they'll go put that in the Barrens. That's why people were excited about the world quest system. Not that you could just have a different way of doing dailies in the modern content. It was a way to re-engage with the old world to make it relevant again. So do it, Blizzard. Do it. And I promise you, Blizzard, if you add this into the game, people won't feel the need or desire, for the most part, to do a $60 character boost to go to Battle for Azeroth content straight out of the gate. And when I say people, I mean new players. Because right now, the old World of Warcraft content just feels like a prerequisite class in college where you have to do it in order to get to the thing you actually want to do. Now, I think Heritage Armor is a great way to reward people from going from level 1 to max level, or level 20 in the case of allied races, but there should be more of a reason for you to want to build your character from level 1 and have an incentive to experience the old content all the way to the modern content. Because if you just jump right to the modern content, well, you don't feel attached to your character. And that's important in any RPG game, whether that be an MMO or a single-player RPG. I mean, you already kind of see that with people that play Void Elves. Unless they've played their Void Elf from level 1 to max level, if they've just done a character swap, they feel like, it's not really integrated in the world, I don't really feel engaged with this character, somehow my Void Elf feels really hollow. As RPG players, we become connected to the characters we make. When I log into my account, I know and feel connections to all of my characters. If I log into my brother's account and were to start playing those characters, I don't feel any attachment to them. They might technically be human warriors also compared to my human warrior, but it's not my human warrior. Also, let me go on the record as saying that heirloom gear was like the worst idea ever. Not only was like the $60 character boost a bad idea, but heirloom weapons and items might be the worst part, and it might be probably the biggest reason why the old content feels so terrible. You level through it so quickly, you don't see half of the story, and you're out of a zone. So you never see it through to conclusion. On top of that, the items that you might get from questing or doing dungeons, they're not as good as your heirloom gear. Or if they are as good as your heirloom gear or better, you're still not going to replace your heirloom gear. Why? Because it has plus experience modifiers on it to make you level quicker. You would be stupid to remove it and replace it. The game is actively incentivizing you to want to skip content. That is bad game design, point blank. Usually I'm somebody that thinks that finding the middle ground is usually the right answer, but when it comes to heirloom gear needs to be gone. It needs to be deleted. There's no way that you can say, oh, if we did this to it, or oh, that we could do that to it to make it better, people should level quicker. No. You should have the same experience requirements for your new alt that you're making as you did with your main. There should be no shortcuts. There shouldn't be no quick ways. I mean, if you don't want to spend the time leveling a character and putting that value into it, then you don't get that character. Same way that you're seeing people complain about allied race unlocks. And, oh, it's so difficult to go grind old rep to get this extra perk allied race. It should just be included in the base Battle for Azeroth. I paid for it, so I should get it for free. No, this is an MMO. You need to earn things. If you don't like earning things, don't play an MMO. Don't play an RPG. If you want everything handed to you in a silver platter, go play Fortnite. Go play some other kind of instant gratification game, like Call of Duty, where you can just get all your stuff, go and play the game, log out, not think about it, or not care about it when you're done. Simple. Not only that, but those people that actually achieve and get that allied race, they feel special when they unlock it. They feel like they're unique, like they've achieved something. So these people that want it given to them just easily, they're self-sabotaging their fun experience. They don't know it's in their best interest, and that's why game developers have such a hard time listening to their communities when they give them feedback. It's because people genuinely don't know what they want. Now, this might be kind of an extreme example, but think of it this way. If you gave somebody a red button they could push where they could get all the achievements in the game, unlock all the mounts, unlock all max level characters, and just give them everything, those players would be stupid not to push that button. But does that fulfill them? Is that part of the gaming experience? No, you wouldn't remove that, because that's the whole point, is the journey, not the destination. If you gave everybody everything, they would just go, oh, well, I've done everything in the game and I've gotten everything. Well, guess I'm going to log out and go play something else to start working on something new. And ironically, by the developers giving players the option to have character boosts to 110 or to have heirlooms, they are effectively self-sabotaging the game that they've developed, which is confusing. I don't understand. They're literally making people consume their content faster than it should be. So what Blizzard can actually learn from classic WoW's leveling and move it forward to Battle for Azeroth is that leveling does matter. People do enjoy it. It's just the way that you're doing it is really makes it super unenjoyable and unfulfilling.